Hyperloop is a new form of ground transport currently in development by a number of companies. It could see passengers traveling at over 700 miles an hour in a floating pod which races along the giant low pressure tubes either below or above ground. There are two big differences between Hyperloop and traditional rail. Firstly, the pods carrying passengers travel through tubes or tunnels from which the most of the air has been removed to reduce friction. This should allow the pods to travel at about 750 miles an hour. So welcome to TechRW, and in today's video we are going to talk about the futuristic technology of Hyperloop. Supporters argue that Hyperloop could be cheaper and faster than train or car travel, and cheaper and less polluting than air travel. They claim that it's so quicker and cheaper to build than the traditional high-speed rail. Hyperloop could therefore be used to take the pressure off clean rocked roads, making travel between cities easier and potentially unlocking major economic benefits as a result. A number of different companies are working to turn the idea into a functioning commercial system. Hyperloop technology is still in development, even though the basic concept has been around for many years. At the moment, the earliest any Hyperloop is likely to be up and running in 2021, but most services are expected to be later, as trials of technology are still in their early stages. It's still not clear where the Hyperloops will actually be established, but a number of companies have sketched out routes in the US, Europe, and elsewhere. Potential routes include New York to Washington DC, Pune to Mumbai, Kansas City to St. Louis, Bratislava to Brno, Vijayawada and Amaravati, and many more. The idea of using low pressure or vacuum tubes as part of the transport system has a long heritage. The Crystal Palace Pneumatic Railway used the air pressure to push a wagon uphill and a vacuum to drag it back down, way back in Victorian South London in 1864. Similar systems using pneumatic tubes to send mail and packages between buildings have been in use since the late of the 19th century and can still be seen in supermarkets and banks to move money around today. One clear predecessor of the Hyperloop is the Vic train concept developed by Robert Goddard early in the 20th century. Since then, similar ideas have been proposed without much success. However, it was entrepreneur Elon Musk who united interest in the concept with his Hyperloop alpha paper in August 2013, which set out how a modern system would work and how much it would cost. The basic idea of Hyperloop as envisioned by Musk is that the passenger pods and capsules travel through a tube either above or below ground. To reduce friction, most but not all of the air is removed from the tubes by pumps. Overcoming air resistance is one of the biggest uses of energy in high-speed travel. Airliners climb to high altitudes to travel through less dense air. In order to create a similar effect at the ground level, Hyperloop encloses the capsules in a reduced pressure tube, effectively allowing the trains to travel at airplane speeds while still on the ground. In Musk's model, the pressure of the air inside the Hyperloop tube is about 1/6 the pressure of the atmosphere on Mars. This means an operating pressure of 100 pascals, which reduces the drag force of the air by 1,000 times relating to sea level conditions, and will be equivalent to flying above 150,000 feet. The Hyperloop capsules in Musk's model float above the tube's surface on a set of 28 air-bearing skis, similar to the way that the park floats just above the table on an air hockey game. One major difference is that it is the pod, not the track, that generates the air cushion in order to keep the tube as simple and cheap as possible. Other versions of the Hyperloop use magnetic levitation rather than air skis to keep the passenger pods above the tracks. The pod would get its initial velocity from an external linear electric motor, which would accelerate it to high subsonic velocity and then give it a boost every 70 miles. Also in between, the pod would coast along in near vacuum. Each capsule could carry 28 passengers. Other version aimed to carry up to 40, plus some luggage. Another version of the pod could carry cargo and vehicles. Pods would depart every 2 minutes or every 30 seconds at peak usage. Under Musk's model, the Hyperloop will be powered by solar panels placed on the top of the tube, which would allow the system to generate more energy than it needs to run. Supporters argue that Hyperloop is significantly better than high-speed rail. It is lower cost and more energy efficient because, among other things, the track does not need to provide power to the pods continuously, and because the pods can rev every 30 seconds, it's more like an on-demand service. It's also potentially 2 or 3 times faster than even high-speed rail, and 10 times the speed of regular rail service. For the LA to San Francisco Hyperloop that Musk envisaged, he came up with a price tag of under $6 billion. Musk envisioned an LA to San Francisco journey time of half an hour with the pod departures every 30 seconds and each carrying 28 passengers. Spreading the capital cost over 20 years and the holding in operation cost, Musk came up with the figure of $20 plus operating cost for a one-way ticket on a passenger Hyperloop. Most of the cost of the system lies in building the tube network. The overall cost of the tube, pillars, vacuum pumps and stations was calculated at over $4 billion for the passenger version of Hyperloop and $7 billion for a slightly larger version that could also take a freight. The cost of the capsules was put at around $1.35 million a piece. With 40 needed for the service, the cost of this is around $54 million, or $70 million for a mix of passenger and cargo capsules. That's less than 90% of the cost of the proposed passenger-only high-speed rail system. Critics of Hyperloop have warned that traveling in the tube might be an uncomfortable experience due to noise-inducing acceleration plus lateral g-force on bends in the route. However, Virgin Hyperloop once says that a journey via Hyperloop will feel about the same as riding in an elevator or a passenger plane. Traveling in a concrete pipe in a windowless pod means there is not going to be much to look at. Musk's original vision said that beautiful landscape will be displayed in the cabin, and each passenger will have access to their own personal entertainment system. Do you think Hyperloop will be a solution to fast and cheap transportation? Let's see what you think down in the comment section. And also, if you like this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so that you won't miss any upcoming videos. Peace.